Well, I think we all agree with
Yep.
transparency is where we need to go. What needs to happen is one of the six of us needs to make sure we stay transparent.
Or at least the five of us. I don't know where the sixth one is today.
Well,
but
Sam said he had some campaigning
Yeah.
to do, and we'll go with that. And I'm sure if we have another one, Sam will be here. Do we have any questions, Nicole, that are coming in? Okay, right now, if you have questions to any of us or to the group as a whole, you can write that into the website, and Nicole will come online and tell us what those questions
why
are.
don't we talk about the opportunity to turn over our Senate? It's pretty
That-
awesome.
That is true. Right now, there are 3 seats open.
There are Pat Lindsay's seat, E.B. McLean's seat. Talk about transparency and honesty. E.B. McLean and his a little issue down in the Birmingham area.
He will no longer be.
No, he will. He said, "Don't call me senator." Well, I have no problem with that.
Well, that's
So-
a perfect example. What he's done with irresponsibly taking the taxpayers' money in Alabama, funneling that to a nonprofit where he ends up profiting half of what goes there is just an egregious example of how the legislature in Montgomery has not
It's
overseen the
unconscionable.
spending and
Just
taken care
unconscionable.
of what they need to do. And things like that, and when we can eliminate those types of situations, then we can have the opportunity to either lower the tax burden on the people of this state, or we can use those funds in a more productive manner to get a better education for our
Yeah.
schools, to provide the roads that are necessary to be successful, or to use that as an economic stimulus to entice businesses to come into the state of Alabama. But when we're basically squandering money like that, and other legislators are turning their back to these types of deals, we really have to hold these guys accountable.
$760,000 went into that deal of just useless, poof, gone away.
Right.
I mean, but the upside of all this is that we have an opportunity in that area to gain a seat for the Republicans. With Senator Lindsay's death, we have an opportunity to have a special election down there and gain that seat. This Senate seat should go Republican. I firmly believe that one of the 6 of us should win this seat. And we're looking at a situation where we haven't had a Democratic Senate in 120 years. Republican Senate,
Right.
excuse me, I misspoke,
Right.
in 120 years, and we could turn over our Senate. That is just incredible.
And if we can put people that are going to go down there, and it changes the culture of what's happening down there, and I think all of us want to do that. But
And I think we
it's
need
up
to
to
put
you, the
people-
voters. The voters have got to take it into your hands, and I don't mean to point my finger at you, but you've got to take it into your hands to elect somebody, one of us, that will go down there and help change that culture down there.
Well, and they don't need to be afraid to say, well, it's just you. You're only one guy or one woman. What can you do? They need to realize there are
Absolutely.
other like-minded conservative Republicans in Montgomery currently that need help. They need our help. They need your help. And it's important that it's not just one of us, that we actually get down there and can kind of start the ball rolling and really let people know that we want to take back control of the state and push this thing forward, because we're all looking for a positive impact for the citizens of the entire state, not just District 7, but for everybody involved here. And that's,
You're right. It's a small community that we're going to go down to and serve. And while we may not be at a point in time, we may be a voice crying out in the wilderness in the budget, but there are certain things we can really fight for, like our tax dollars. We send $1 down to Montgomery and get 71 cents back. That was actually a little higher than what I thought it was going to be. We could do better, though, and we've got an opportunity now to capitalize on our engineering base, to diversify into private engineering sector, to get the right kind of manufacturing into our area. But for that, we need capital expenditures. There you go. We need infrastructure. We need workforce development. There's all sorts of things that we could use that 29 cents. To coming back here to do to further our now. And I don't want to be a xenophobe and say you're not going to help our other counties. I mean, there are the Wiregrass counties and Dallas County and areas that are just going to need help. And I understand why the governor has to apportion those tax dollars. But if we could even get 10 cents more back, if we could go down to 19 cents, not coming back to us, that would be a significant improvement.
I think we need a combination of balancing the budget and looking at where the future lies.
Right.
Because I think that's something that all of these stimulus package, we know yesterday the big stimulus package was passed. We know that there's a counterpart package here in the state that they're getting ready to pass. But all of these packages essentially miss the real point, is that they spend a lot of money, they borrow money and put the burden on our children for generations. But after this money is spent, where will it have left us? What will we have gained long term from this? And I think that's the underlying thing that's missing from a lot of these stimulus packages. We need to support the technology industry. The technology industry is the industry of the future. It is where our economy is going. Low skill, low paying jobs. The tax burden is so heavy on corporations here in America, and the labor costs are so high that it's very difficult for them to compete with low skill, low wage jobs. And so what we need is strategic investment in the future jobs that will fuel our economy. And that's going to require two things. One, reducing tax burden on small businesses and small business owners, as well as families who are struggling to make it. And two, improving our education. Back to this, because education is central to the economy. A lot of people don't understand that we are importing individuals to teach in our colleges and universities.
Sure.
We are importing engineers to fuel our technology industry. We are importing healthcare professionals who are nurses. Anytime when you have to get your nurses from overseas, that means that your education system is broken. And for the dollars that we're putting into education, if you're a businessman, you would expect a better return on
And
investment.
you know, something about that I read in the paper was that there's a proposal afoot to apportion the dollars differently and to make the universities suffer more than K through 12 in proration. I don't think that's a good answer. Because
I couldn't agree with you more.
Well,
Being a university
As
professor.
a student that
do.
went through college during proration, where it was that way back in the 80s, it did hurt our college systems
Yeah.
to overburden that. But we also can't overburden K through 12.
We need
we've got-
innovation.
We,
We need
need to look at
efficiency.
our two-year schools as well and say, how many are
correct.
we opening right now?
We
just
have
opened
a
a
huge
new
number
one
of
over in
community
Cherokee County.
colleges,
Right.
We need innovation and efficiency. And I think Woodrow Wilson, and I know these are terms that are thrown around a lot, but I majored in public administration, so I kind of done a little bit of study on it. Woodrow Wilson was the individual who invented the public administration movement in our country. And he coined two phrases, effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness meaning you do what you set out to do, and efficient meaning that you do it at the least possible cost to the taxpayer. That's something that we've gotten away from in education. Are we educating our kids at the best level that we can? The answer to that is no.